welcome to our podcast, Phylum 101s. For today's episode, we will be talking about the Cnidaria phylum. I will be discussing these phylums with Grayson and Dianna.
Okay,
How are you doing, sir?
starting off, we'll be talking about the filter phylum. So one of these animals of the phylum is a sponge, and they have an asymmetrical shape.
What does an asymmetrical shape mean on the sponge?
Well, if you divide the shape of the sponge in half, then both sides of it won't look the same. Like they won't mirror each other.
So they wouldn't be like us, where if you divided us down the middle, we'd be the same?
A little bit clear.
Exactly.
Well, another cool thing about the sponge is they have a pretty interesting way of digesting their food. They filter the water around them and get the food particles and absorb the nutrients from those food particles. Once they are done with whatever they need to eat, they just throw it back into the ocean.
Well, just to add on to cool, interesting facts about the sponge, the skeleton of the sponge is mostly colony of cells made with flexible protein, silica, or mineral calcite.
I thought they were just like a regular colony of cells.
Nope. Okay. Also, the way sponges reproduce in a few different ways. One of the ways is budding, where they have a group of cells or a bud grow on the outside of their body, and when the bud is fully matured and ready to become another sponge, it will break off and get by a motion current, and when it finally lands, it'll start growing into another sponge. They also reproduce using external egg and sperm release.
Sounds like a pretty interesting way to reproduce.
Yep.
Sponge is pretty interesting. So moving on to the Cnidaria phylum, we all know is a very common animal is the jellyfish, and they have muscle-like tissues as well as a nematosis.
What's a nematosis for the jellyfish? That's like something that's very complicated for a very simple
Yes,
animal.
it is. Well, it's a specialized cell containing a coiled venomous or barbed thread, and it helps catch its prey as well as defend itself.
Sounds pretty dangerous.
Mhm.
Well, another interesting thing about the Cnidarian phylum is that they don't really have a nervous system, but they still respond to their environment and whatever it throws at them. Another very interesting thing is their reproduction cycles. They first start releasing sperm or egg into the water. Once the sperm and egg find a match, they turn into a plenial larva, which settles onto the seabed, which then becomes a seabed polyp, which is basically like a meat flower that grows jellyfish. So this polyp then matures and gains buds. These buds then turn into Euphoria larvae, and which are like kind of little baby jellyfish, and then those turn into full-blown jellyfish and start the cycle again.
Yep. And since we're talking about jellyfish-ish, why don't we talk about radiosymmetry? What radiosymmetry is where you can divide the creature, as long as it's going through the middle, they'll always look symmetrical.
Pretty cool.
So, hate to break it to you guys, but you know that all the animals of this phylum only has a one-way digestive system.
Pretty gross.
Yes, it is. So, depending on the type of animal of this phylum, the hole is going to be either on the top or bottom. So, jellyfish has it on the bottom, and sea anemones have it on the top. So, they eat their food, absorb the nutrients, and then all the waste just goes at the same exact hole.
Yeah, all the waste. So, well, another thing is their skeleton, which they don't exactly have one. Instead, they have a ectoderm, which is where the nematosis are located and their outer layer. And they also have the endoderm, which is kind of like their internal skeleton-like structure, and also where their food is stored. Looks like we're out of time for this podcast. Goodbye.